Hundreds of people say they heard it. Mysterious boom and also a flash of light in one North Texas neighborhood.
Jeff Paul started asking questions and then he got an answer about what it might have been.
First, there's a flash and a pop. But about 4 seconds later, there's a boom.
Out of nowhere, just this pow.
Philip Washington was one of many in North Oak Cliff who heard and felt the explosive noise.
That was, without a doubt, the loudest sound I have heard.
Some suspected fireworks or gunfire, while a few others thought the noise was a bad car wreck.
It was immediately apparent that something had fallen from the sky.
University of North Texas astronomer Ron DiIulio says the noise is a sonic boom caused by either a meteorite or some sort of space debris.
As it's coming in, it explodes, but as it's exploding, it's also passing the speed of sound.
DiIulio says hundreds of tons of meteorites fall every day. Most burn up quickly or are rarely caught on camera.
And you can hear the sound of the reverberation. The whole neighborhood shook from that.
From what he saw captured in the video, DiIulio estimates whatever entered the Earth's atmosphere is about the size of this grapefruit.
They just consider themselves lucky that they got an experience in life that a lot of people don't. A true shooting star.
And having never experienced a fall himself, DiIulio is pretty jealous and hopes folks like Washington made a wish.
Turn now to a bizarre story out of Hawaii. An emergency alert went out telling people to take shelter from an incoming ballistic missile. We have confirmed it was a false alarm. That image comes from the phone of Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard. She tweeted, Hawaii, this is a false alarm. There is no incoming missile to Hawaii. I have confirmed with officials there is no incoming missile. It's not clear why the false alert was sent out.
Broome is on alert tonight as a cyclone starts to hit the town. Authorities have warned residents to prepare, with strong winds buffeting the Kimberley right now. And Rebecca Johns is in Broome tonight. Beck, Cyclone Joyce is building in power.
Good evening, Tracy. Well, as you can see behind me from our hotel balcony, the intensity of this storm is beginning to build. Winds are already gusting up to 100 kilometres an hour, and it's only going to get worse before it gets better. Fresh produce from supermarket shelves has been stripped bare as locals prepare to ride out the cyclone. With Cyclone Joyce less than 100 kilometres off the coast, Broome is already feeling her fury. Roads flooding, trees toppling, and this is just the preview to a weather emergency unfolding in the Kimberley and Pilbara. Qantas, Virgin and Skippers Aviation have cancelled all flights in and out of the tourist town. Great Northern Highway also shut down. Placed on alert, Broome locals spent today stocking up on essential supplies. The supermarkets were stripped bare of fresh produce.
I'm an ex-Cyclone Tracy survivor, so I absolutely despise them, and I don't want to be out here, but I had to come out.
Main issue will be the trucks getting stopped by the rain, so we won't get much food afterwards.
After crashes blocked highways earlier in the week, maintaining supplies is a real concern.
We'll just need to monitor the flooding situation and ensure if we need to make alternate arrangements, transport from the east, for example, then we'll put those steps in place.
130 people are already sheltering in Broom's makeshift evacuation centre. Many from nearby communities fearful their homes may not withstand cyclonic conditions. And this is how Joyce looks from space. Declared a tropical cyclone this morning, she intensified through today, drawing energy from the Indian Ocean and packing wind gusts up to 100 kilometres an hour. Passing Broome this evening, the Weather Bureau predicts she'll gain intensity, crossing the coast tomorrow between Pardue and Bijadanga.
We could expect wind speeds in the Broome area of around 130 kilometres, and when it does pass the coast, it'll pass the coast as a Category 3 system. That has wind speeds at the upper end of 224 kilometres an hour.
What has authorities the most concerned is flooding. Parts of Broome, just like this, are already underwater. With up to 300 mils of rain forecast to fall in some areas, it's only going to get worse.
The search continues for victims of the Southern California mudslides. At least 5 people are missing. 18 people were killed when mud, debris, and giant boulders came down the mountain on Tuesday. One resident survived by clinging to a tree, but his partner of 17 years was swept away by the river of mud. Montecito residents have been ordered to stay out of town for 2 weeks as search, rescue, and recovery efforts continue.
I was just at first going slow, and I could feel the rumble, like, okay, we're gonna get out of here, I'm taking my time. But then all of a sudden, you hear this loud rush of water hit the back of the car. And it was like being at the water park and coming down a slide or whatever. After that, it was all in the hands of God, you know. I was holding the steering wheel and was just literally floating with the tide of the water. When the car hydroplaned all the way down, the rest of the way. There was no brakes, no steering, and as you go down the hill, it was the creek that the water was going to settle in and the road back up. Luckily, I got footing, I got ground with my tires. I was able to get out of there in the nick of time.
It's been a dramatic change in life in less than 48 hours for people on the east coast of Madagascar. Ava was the latest cyclone to hit their island. It has now subsided, but it has left them homeless, sick, and in desperate need of help.
We are 6 in our family and our house is completely submerged in water. My child had a strong fever, so we decided to come here. From morning, the moment you step down from your bed, you are forced to walk in water. Water is everywhere, and that is the reason we came here.
Cyclone Ava sped up the east coast of the island on Friday before heading out to sea on Sunday. Heavy rains and winds of up to 190 kilometers an hour left a trail of destruction. Dozens died in floods and landslides. Up to 19,000 fled to temporary shelters. Hundreds of homes have been destroyed, roads submerged, schools shut down, and towns cut off from one another by the sudden appearance of new lakes. The region of Hot Matsiatra, 400 kilometers south of the capital Antananarivo, was worst affected.
We asked the state to come and see what we are going through and to look at our situation and find a solution to clear out the water, but it is stagnant and we don't know where to put our children.
Ava is not the first lethal storm to hit Madagascar in the last 12 months. In March, Cyclone Inao killed at least 78 people and destroyed large areas of crops.
Possible measles exposure at Newark Airport. On January 2nd, an international traveler arrived at Terminal C with a case of measles and left for Indianapolis from a domestic terminal. Now, anyone at the airport between 6:30 a.m. and 5:30 p.m. that day may have been exposed. And if you've never been vaccinated or had the disease, you could also be at risk. If you develop symptoms, you're advised to contact your healthcare provider.
Same-sex couples in WA could soon have access to a surrogate here at home. The McGowan government is considering changing the law to allow same-sex surrogacy, meaning couples won't have to go overseas to start a family.
It was the miracle they never thought they'd see.
We had hoped we could start a family. Things didn't look good when we looked into adoption.
Perth fathers Michael and Brendan became parents to baby Logan last year using a surrogate. But current law prevents same-sex couples from accessing surrogacy in WA, so they travelled to Canada to begin their path to parenthood.
But it was really easy because it was so similar to Australia. The agency we contacted were really friendly and helpful.
6 months on, it was the best decision of their lives. And soon, same-sex couples could have access to a surrogate right here at home.
The McGowan government's undertaking a review of the Human Reproductive Technology Act as well as the Surrogacy Act to make sure that they meet the needs of Australians or West Australians.
An independent review is now looking at laws that were named as outdated and discriminatory.
We are making sure that we're keeping these acts up to date so they actually work properly.
The proposed changes bring WA in line with other states and territories, and there are calls for nationally consistent laws across Australia.
We've had advances in technology around reproductive assistance. We've had a whole range of community attitudes change.
The review is expected to be completed by the end of this year.
Using vulgar language, President Trump today questioned why the United States would allow people from Haiti and Africa into the country, describing those places using an expletive while suggesting people from Norway might be more acceptable. He reportedly made the comments during a White House meeting with a bipartisan group of senators.
As Senator Graham made his presentation, the president interrupted him several times with questions, and in the course of his comment, said things which were hate-filled, vile, and racist. I use those words advisedly. I understand how powerful they are. But I cannot believe that in the history of the White House, in that Oval Office, any president has ever spoken the words that I personally heard our president speak yesterday.
The White House tonight is not denying the president made the remarks. Now, we want you to know our report includes that expletive once so that you can hear the complete quote for yourself. And of course, it may not be appropriate for some of our younger viewers. NBC's Peter Alexander has details.
The president tonight apparently uncorking another astonishing statement, complaining to lawmakers in the Oval Office about protections for immigrants. Why do we want these people from, quote, all these shithole countries here? According to a Democratic aide familiar with the conversation, Mr. Trump was referring to African nations and Haiti, before suggesting the U.S. should have more people from places like Norway, whose prime minister he met yesterday. A White House spokesman tonight not denying the president's words, but saying certain Washington politicians choose to fight for foreign countries. But President Trump will always fight for the American people.
Guys, I don't know how to break this to you, but I think the president might be racist. No, wait, hear me out. I know I sound crazy. And you know what? Personally, as someone from South Shithole, I'm offended, Mr. President. Okay, I'm offended.
President Donald Trump arrived in West Palm Beach around 7 on Friday evening, waving as he passed by a small group of supporters on his way to Mar-a-Lago.
We felt like we should support Trump because we are all conservatives, and because we are Latinos, we want to show that everybody, that not only white people are here, but every race is here.
This, as elected officials had some strong words for the president.
I think we can no longer make any bones about the fact that the president is a racist.
Representative Debbie Wasserman Schultz making that statement as Florida's first Haitian American state senator says she wants the president out if he does not apologize for what she calls painful, unacceptable statements about Haiti, El Salvador, and Africa.
If he refuses to do it, he needs to resign. He needs to resign. Simple as that. I don't think he needs an impeachment. I don't think he needs anything. It's fairness. Enough is enough. He just needs to give his resignation as a president.
The governor is a close friend of the president and ally, but he says in this case, he does not agree with Trump.
If the reports are true, he should take them back. I disagree with them completely. We love people coming into our state. They're part of the fabric of our state.
Representative Frederica Wilson doesn't believe his denials.
Call it what it is. This man is spewing racist
talk across this country. He's embarrassing America.
But the president's supporters are standing by his side.
Well, again, like I said, anybody who thinks that other people don't speak like that in reality are only lying to themselves. They're just fooling themselves. Donald Trump is a real person. He's not a politician. And the things that he has done for the country to improve it for the people, I mean, everybody sees what's going on.
And this, Miami Representative Mario Diaz-Balart was one of only 7 lawmakers in the room when President Donald Trump reportedly made those comments. At this time, the Republican representative is not addressing that matter, speaking only about DACA, saying in part, "I will not be diverted from all possible efforts to continue negotiating to stop the deportations."
The president is facing new scrutiny tonight over accusations of hush money paid over a sexual encounter with a porn star. The Wall Street Journal reports President Trump's lawyer paid Stephanie Clifford, a.k.a. Stormy Daniels, $130,000 just before his election to keep quiet. The encounter allegedly took place at a celebrity golf tournament in Lake Tahoe in 2006, a year after he married Melania Trump. Now, that same lawyer told the Journal today that both the president and the actress continue to deny any encounter or payment. The White House says this is an old, recycled report which was published and strongly denied prior to the election.
And a new development in the Julian Assange case. The WikiLeaks co-founder has been granted an Ecuadorian ID card as a step towards ending his 5-year confinement in Ecuador's London embassy. Let's get details on this. RT's Laura Smith now joining me live from just outside the Ecuadorian embassy. Laura, it's been an interesting 24 hours for Mr. Assange, hasn't it?
It certainly has. After a while of nothing, no movement from inside the Ecuadorian embassy, there's been a series of developments in the last 24 hours relating to passports of all things. So the first sign of this was that Julian Assange posted a photograph of himself in an Ecuadorian football shirt, which gave rise to a lot of speculation about what that could mean. He generally doesn't do things unless they mean something. And then we saw reports surfacing from Quito, which said that he had received a national identity number. So he's been entered into the tax register, essentially, which is something that will only happen to citizens of Ecuador. So the strong suggestion is that from this national identity number, he will then possibly get a passport, citizenship, nationality of Ecuador.
Business Insider reports, according to reviews by several Goldman Sachs strategists, Bitcoin has the potential to serve as a legitimate global currency in theory. In a note on Wednesday from Goldman's Zach Pandel and Charles Himmelberg, they report that the widespread use of the dollar outside the U.S. and full dollarization in some countries suggests there is already demand for an internationally accepted medium of exchange and store of value. The strategists went on to write, in those countries and corners of the financial system where the traditional services of money are inadequately supplied, Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies more generally may offer viable alternatives.
The U.S. has revealed that countering Iran is part of its ongoing operations in Syria after the fall of Islamic State. And among the key reasons, a military presence will remain there. The announcement was made during a Senate hearing on Thursday.
The President has committed, as a matter of strategy, that we will not leave Syria. We're going to stay for several reasons. Stabilization and assistance in the vital north and northeast, protection of our allies, the Syrian Democratic Forces, but for other reasons as well, including countering Iran.
How so? With force, with troops, with diplomacy? Which one of those?
Senator, it's a combination of measures. First and foremost, it is aggressive sanctioning and measures undertaken by the U.S. and our partners.
Well, we discussed the announcement with Dr. Bassam Abu Abdullah, a professor of political sciences at Damascus University. He says the U.S. has no legal right to be in Syria.
As the former...
We are here today to make a peaceful
The 133-year-old Fabian Society's New Year conference has been disrupted just before the London Mayor Sadiq Khan was due to speak. Members of a group calling themselves the White Pendragons halted proceedings for several minutes, shouting "No EU" and claiming the Society, a left-wing think tank, was subverting our English constitution.
It is a pleasure to be here, even though we were distracted by the actions of what some would call very stable geniuses.
The protesters also expressed support for Donald Trump, but many in the audience booed and cheered when police intervened to remove the protesters, and a counter-demonstration of Remainers took the floor.